I'm so goddamn punctual. It's literally, damn it, I'm a minute late. Never mind. Okay, so last Friday we worked a little bit on, and actually, let me change my audio output to my headphones. We worked on a little bit of, oh, something's gone wrong, that's not good. Where's the issue? The reset combo function doesn't work. That would be because I didn't compile. I don't think I built from source. I think I only use live coding. So let's open Visual Studio. Can we try to open up this class? No? Okay, we'll just open it through this, I suppose. And then it's on the weapon class, but it doesn't matter where it is actually. I realize now, because I just need to close the project. We can save changes, that's fine. Check out selected, that's fine. And then we simply need to build. Apparently I forgot to do that last time, so we need to real quick do that and make sure there is no compiling errors as well. This might take a minute. In the meantime, how's everybody doing? Coming into the stream, let's say, oh yeah, there's unused local variable. Don't really care about that. So let's see if this fixes the issue that we were having. Because the issue might have actually been that I just removed that function from the C++ class. I think I did, maybe. Maybe I did. I think I did. Or did I remove the function from the blueprint? I think I removed it from the blueprint and then I made it a U function in C++. I think that is what happened. Let's see. This should still... Okay, this works now. So, last time, what we did is I made the weapon invisible until we actually start using it. And then when we stop using it, the weapon should disappear again, but it doesn't, seemingly. So, that's weird. Last time it did. What it does do, however, if we are in combat, which we'll do for a moment here. Technically, I think we're in combat now. Maybe we're not. And then when we come back out of combat, it should get rid of the weapon again. First and foremost, we need to put that on a timer. We also need to fix up that that issue that it doesn't disappear when I stop attacking. And then we are going to add some particle stuff as well. That's going to be fun. So let's first and foremost open up all the assets that we had open last time, because we're going to need the majority of them again, probably. Well, this one we actually don't need again, because we fixed up the flying column last time. So we can clear out that and that, and I don't think we need this necessarily at the moment, or that, or that. This one we may need, so let's keep that open. Game instance, probably not going to need that today. The sword attack base we're definitely going to be needing. So, taking a sip of water, and look at this. Reset combo, what does that do? Just set the attack counter back to... Oh, that's what I did. I removed that code because we're going to need to do that with a timer handle instead. Okay, so we already have a timer here. Let me think real quick. We have a timer for resetting the combo, and I think what we'll just do is, do I just have a value named timer handle on my action RPG? Because that would be actually horrible. Timer, combat timer, it's called. is that on here? Oh, it's literally just called timer handle. Let's call this combo timer instead. That shouldn't break anything, hopefully. I think. Yeah, that automatically updates. That's good. So we have that now. And I suppose that lets us reuse the timer handle from this. So let's just make this. Is this even used anywhere? Let's check that out first. Can we find references? It's going to take a minute because it has to look through a lot of code in order to find this. But I don't think I actually use this timer handle anywhere. So I can just reuse that from the C++ code. This is a lot slower when I'm also encoding a stream at the same time. But I think this is supposed to have now found everything, and I don't think there's anything referencing this. So, you know how we can actually check that? We can just try to delete this and see if it gives any compiling errors. That's a way quicker way to check whether or not this is referenced anywhere. Because if it is, this is going to have some issues with compiling now. But it doesn't, so we can use that. But if we're going to do that, we might as well just do it entirely through Blueprint. Why not? Let's say this is the weapon visible timer, something like that, which will be a timer handle. Now, so when the ability ends, what we want to do is after every strike, we want to wait like, let's say 4 seconds. Well, maybe 5 seconds. And if there's no other trigger for the ability at that time, we want to make the sword disappear, but only when we are not in an active combat scenario. So we can just move all this a little bit out the way. We probably should organize this a little bit better as well. What we should do then is set timer by function name. I don't think we can pass through like an event through an object reference. So we have to do it through function name. That's fine. And then the object that we're going to be running it on, of course, will be the Blueprint third-person character. And that needs to have a function for making the sword disappear. But we already have that. We programmed that in. What did we call that again? I think it's just something like hide weapon, right? It's hide weapon. Literally what it's called. Now it's probably going to need to be a U function, I imagine, because otherwise the node probably can't access it. But it already is, so never fucking mind. And the time for that will be 4 seconds. So 4 seconds after it will do that. And it will set the timer handle to set weapon, what did I call weapon vis timer? Weapon vis timer. And then whenever we start this, we want to reset that timer or cancel that timer or whatever. And I think we do something similar at the start for the other thing as well. Yeah, so we get the weapon vis timer. And we clear and invalidate timer by handle. So that way it will just cancel out the function altogether whenever we start a new attack. And then when the attack ends, it's going to count down 4 seconds. And if we don't attack within those 4 seconds again, it's going to make everything disappear. Why are you being a bitch? Because I haven't compiled this one yet, so this one won't compile, but now it will. We're good to go. Now, okay. If I attack, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, disappear. There we go. That's kind of perfect. Now, there's one little issue. First and foremost, live coding sucks for for UI related stuff for some reason. We need to also put in a thing that detects whether or not we're currently in combat, and we can pretty easily do that. But what I think I'll do is I think I'm going to put that in the hide weapon function itself. And we already have that, never mind. That's already in there. I forgot that we did that. So that's already fixed up. Cool, nice. This will never disappear while we're in combat now. So that's a good start. Let's make the particle system. I didn't expect that to go so smoothly. Apparently we did a lot of work already last week. Where do we have the visual effects? There we go. Probably should start organizing these at some point as well. FX, Niagara system. We can just make a new emitter. Start with a fountain as a base, and we'll call this what we'll call it. A very good question. Weapon vanish. Where did that open? Where on my screen? Oh, there it is. Okay, we need to zoom this in a lot more. And we're going to change this up quite a bit. First and foremost, we don't want to shape location. What we want to do is we want a static mesh location. And our preview mesh is going to be, for now, the sword. And that needs to be CPU accessible. Then we're going to, for the time being, not add any velocity either. Maybe we can add some velocity in a moment. Specifically, I definitely don't want a gravity force though. And this is a little bit more like it already. Let's take a look at the static mesh location. Does this on the triangles, on the sockets, or on the vertices? I'm gonna go for triangles, I think. Doesn't really matter for us right now. When we initialize the particle though, what I want is very long particles. I think we can get away with just these circular particles, but I want them to be much longer. So they're going to be non-uniform, and I'm just going to unset. No, not unset. I want it to be non-uniform. Non-uniform. There we go. Random non-uniform. No. What I want is non-uniform, and then for now, let's just make them like 1. Maybe like 5 by 50. Let's do 5 by 70. Matter of fact, I think we can go even further. I think we can go like 5 by 100. I think that's pretty good. I do want them to all be facing the same way, like tangential to the face that they appear on. And surely we have some way to set that. Sprite rotation mode is random now. Direct normalized angle. I don't really think that that is what I want. Direct angle. Can I like sample the face or something like that? What if I set this to onset? That just makes it sprite rotation angle. Can I get the normal from the face? Triangle. There has to be some kind of way to get that information, right? Let's see. Position sampling, velocity sampling, orientation sampling. Choose whether to sample the socket mesh orientation and output it to an attribute, or apply it directly to the particle mesh orientation. What if we set this to output? Can we put this before initialization? Probably not a good idea. Let me Google this real quick. Unreal, Niagara, particles to mesh face orientation. Align Niagara particles by velocity direction. That is pretty easy. Can I orient meshes so that it always faces a specific point? Mesh orientation. Render Niagara particles in front of a mesh. That could be something. Face. I'm just gonna call this rotation. Maybe people will be looking for that. Mesh orientation to shape, how to update mesh orientation in Niagara, how to emit rotation and apply, how to initially spawn with emitter rotation, help orienting Niagara mesh renderer towards a point, align particle by velocity direction. Actually, not a lot of people seem to be looking into this. Which is a little weird, to be honest with you. This is not what I'm looking into. Offset position alignment. Let's see. Okay, that's exactly what it sounds like. That makes sense. Can we say a specific sample position? It's not really going to help us either, is it? Let's check. Mesh. No. What if we don't apply it, but we output it? Can we then set it to particles.mesh orientation? Can I then get that from this? Particles dot. It's not showing up. Mesh orientation. I would very much like to put that in here. a particle attribute? Can I not? It's a vector, that's the issue. Okay. All right. We're getting somewhere though. We're getting somewhere. We can... Ooh, that's actually looking pretty cool as well. Actually looks really cool. I'm going to have to remember that. Just making elongated particles with a random rotation spawn into a single point. That looks pretty neat. Distance fields, I don't think that's what I'm looking for. But I have an idea because I can set a attribute. Attribute. Right, how do I do that again? Is it called a parameter? Set new or existing parameter directly. And how about you shut the fuck up while I'm streaming? Set parameters. If we do that here, we can make a parameter, which I can like user parameters, add one. X rotation. No, I want to make a new float. And we'll call that X rotation. And we'll try to set that. So if we set X do I need to save this first? Is that the issue? You know what? Fuck you. I'm going to just make a new one. Just going to do this and then... It's been a while since I've done this. Can you tell? Yeah, we don't need that second one. Never mind. Can I... It's just a float value. Sure. Vector. Make float from vector. And we want to get the vector... We call that mesh orientation, right? Can we get it out of that? I don't think I quite understand what kind of... Oh, it's a quaternion. That makes sense. It's a rotation after all. Can we get a float out of a quaternion? Can we get a vector out of a quaternion, actually? Yeah, I don't think this is going to work. This is a bad idea to do it this way. I mean, I very well could, if we just rotate this around, and instead of doing the rotation at random, if we just set this to... Suddenly just straight up does not work. Because this needs to be set to apply, is that it? Come on, this needs to be easily possible, right? Otherwise this is an absolute waste of time. Niagara, rotate particles along mesh. This can't be such a niche topic that, like, when I look for this, what people say is that you need to enable local space. But that's not the issue here. Like, that's just one step more basic. Like, I can try. It's not going to do shit, but it probably should still be local space, actually. So it's a good thing that we're enabling that now. But that's like such a basic thing that I'm like, I'm not looking for that. What I'm looking for is for the... Hold on. No, that's not it either. I'm looking for the rotation of the particle to match whatever phase it spawns in on, and we should have that information. Can we just like set like rotation directly? Maybe we can do that. Align sprite to mesh orientation. Let's give that a shot. Okay, that's unmet dependencies. Mesh orientation. It would be very kind of you to tell me what those dependencies... Oh, there we go. We can just fix issue. Okay. Sure. Orientation mode is orient to quaternion. Okay, we're getting somewhere because we had the orientation sampling. That was a quaternion, I believe. So that's now rather flat. That's actually kind of in the direction that I wanted to be. So if we now set the initial mesh orientation to that quaternion, so we can get that, what was it called? Like mesh. Orientation or something? Why are you not showing up? This is a quaternion, right? Like mesh orientation. So please, for the love of God, just put that in there. It's not really it, is it? This module sets particles.sprite facing and particles.sprite alignment automatically orients sprite particles if rendered mode set to automatic or custom. We'll look into that in a moment. Newly created sprite renderers default to automatic. Yeah, so that should be set to automatic, right? Alignment and facing is automatic, yeah. It's not required to have a mesh renderer in order to have the behavior to function, and mesh orientations and rotation modules can be used to control those behaviors. So this is specifically to do with mesh particles. Does any of this change anything? Is the question. Like if I... It doesn't impact shit. I don't think. Let's just get rid of the velocity here for the moment. So if we just apply this, that makes it random again. Okay, so what's making this random at the moment? It's the initialized particle, isn't it? No. No, it's not. Surely it's not this. Okay, it is actually doing something. Never mind. It is actually doing something. I just don't know what. Mesh orientation, relative. Is it just not orientating along the axis that I imagine? So that's X. Let's try to like orientate this around to Y. And then this will be the X. Because this might just be doing what I want it to be doing. Actually, I think it is. I think it might actually be. Because there are some... There are some faces that are facing like up and down here. That's probably spawning things along. So let's go back to... spawn location, mesh. There we go. I just lost the plot a little bit there. Let's, I don't know, play a mask. Yeah, that actually seems to be more or less spawning along... Okay, so this isn't doing much. Fix now. That's a bad example. Let's see, do we have any other simple geometry that I can test this on? Like this seems like to be just a box. Okay, so this actually is doing what I wanted to do. Almost. What I wanted to do is let's spawn some more particles. Spawn rates. Let's set this to like 500. Yeah, so maybe this just wasn't a good idea. Spawning it from the mesh, because the mesh itself is going to have just so much in the way of detail and differently oriented shit going on. So I might want to emit them from the sockets. Let's do that instead. Let's try to emit from sockets instead of from triangles. See if that makes any significant difference. And then that makes the entire setup a lot easier as well. So the last, what is it? 15, 20 minutes of my life have been kind of worthless because we're throwing that stuff out. Okay. Let's see. Mesh orientation and all that kind of shit were thrown out the window. And we're setting the orientation here to unset. Okay. We can filter the sockets that we spawn in on if we wanted to. But we also... I want this to spawn them like that's random directions. That could work, but that's not what I want. 90, but then I also want them to follow like the... Oh, of course they're always facing... Okay, hold on. Hold the fuck on. Alignment will be a... custom alignment? No, maybe not. It's also the facing mode, so we want to... That's automatic. Face camera plane. Custom facing vector. Got a better idea. We're going to do this with mesh renderers because that's just a little bit more intuitive to work with, I think. Because those don't weirdly rotate. So the mesh that we're going to be working with will just be a cylinder. Is that ideal? No, it is not. Do I care? Not really. No, I don't think I do. The material, however, we want to still make the particle material, which might be an issue, I realize now. I guess we're about to find out. Oh, that's two materials. That's definitely not what we want. Just delete them both, add back in one. Particle... We have like default particle somewhere here. Surely it's in there somewhere. It's called default something, right? Don't think we're gonna find it. I also don't think it's gonna work too well for a mesh material. But we're gonna try. So let's add back in a sprite renderer. Default sprite material is what it's called. There we go. Yeah, this is definitely not gonna look good, is it? Yeah, no, that's not great, but we can just copy this and we can say particle mesh material. And then maybe while we're at it, move this the fuck into a folder where we can actually find it. Would be ideal. Having a working scroll wheel, kind of a big deal. There we go. Okay, I'm just gonna put it in the materials. There we go. And now it should be able to find it. Mesh material, right? Particle mesh material. Open that up and get rid of the two-sided sign. I don't think that's what I... Texture coordinates, sphere mask. That's what I want to get rid of. Bye. Alpha is just going to go into the alpha. We probably want this to be additive. That works for me. Okay. Cool. Slowly but surely. We're going to get there. I promise you. I'm not promising anything, actually. This 90 degrees. To start, and then this at 90 degrees, and then the scale will be 0.1 for all of them, maybe, and get rid of the sprite renderer because we no longer need that. And then we want to elongate them back again, not that direction. God damn it, why do you deselect that? So now we've kind of faked those 2D things, but they actually have like 3D directional stuff and such, which is good. Now, if we're going to do that anyway, we might as well go back into our static mesh location and set this back from sockets to triangles. Okay, maybe not quite. Maybe not quite. That was really close to the microphone where I took a sip. I'm sorry. I don't know if that sounded gross. Vertices? Yeah, no. Gonna go back to sockets again. And I suppose we'll just be adding a bunch of sockets. I don't know what the overhead on having a bunch of sockets is, to be honest. I don't know what the performance impact of that is going to be. But we're gonna do it this way. So, can I just duplicate these? I can just duplicate a few of them. That's great. This way I do have a little bit more control over everything, which is nice. And then I just want to take this socket and add like a random vector between like -50 and +50 in all directions. Oh, let's actually only copy this one thing. Because what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be rotating you. So you're facing that way. And you are going to be rotating about 180 degrees the other way. This does not seem like the right direction. I think that's close enough. Let's see what that looks like. Probably shit. I mean, it's something. If we can now get the mesh location and then we can see position sampling. Apply rigid and then offsets. Like 50, 50, 50. Make vector from that, and then we can say random float and range for all of these, which will be 50 to 50. Maybe 50 is a bit much. -5 to +5. -8 to +8. Okay. Now, can I just copy this and then paste it in there? I can. Okay. Now, if we add some velocity to that, it's automatically... I mean, this also looks trippy as all hell. It's also kind of a cool effect. Not what I'm going for. The velocity will be our... can we get like the mesh rotation? Rotate to vector. Rotate vector by quaternion. I just want to apply velocity in the direction that the thing is facing. There has to be a good way for that. Rotate vector. Yeah, that ain't it. What if we... That's always up. This will always be all in one direction as well, I think. Which is a start. Not exactly what we want. Come on, we can get the particle rotation, right? Particle rotation, surely? Initial rotation. From quaternion? Vector from... Sprite rotation is not it. Sampled rotation. This again is a quaternion. I need to... Oh, I can just drag that in there? Can I? Apparently I can. Will this now move in the direction that they're facing? It will not. Okay. At some point we're gonna get this, but for now I'm gonna take a bathroom break, so I'll be back in like a minute. Okay, let's keep trying to get this to work in some way, shape or form. Rotate vector by quaternion. Oh, maybe we should put this to, maybe not, 50. Not really doing anything, is it? No, no, it's not. Okay. This should be a lot easier to find out. Unreal velocity from initial rotation. Okay, so I don't want to align the rotation to the velocity. I want the velocity to apply in the rotation. Which I know how to do the first one. Could also use ribbon renders actually instead of mesh. Well, for now, let's do it this way. Rotation mode. I'm just gonna look through here a little bit longer. Rotational velocity enabled. That's a bool, probably static bool. Oh, it's a static bool even. It's a fancy bool. Let's try this. Rotate a vector by a quaternion. That's doing something. Like, they're not all going into the same direction, so surely that's gotta be a good start. Like, they're all going up now, but maybe they should just be like going all directions but up. No, maybe they should all be going into their Y only. Well, that's just... Oh my god, that actually does it. Okay. That actually seems to do it. Now, this literally no longer matters. I don't think this matters either anymore because we're using meshes. Actually, let's try to... This is not ideal, but we're only going to be spawning in one of these at a time. So what we'll do is we'll add a... Where do we do this again? An event handler. No. That'll be on the other one. No, that's definitely not what I wanted to do. An update. There we go. It is a position event. Right? A location event. That's what it's called. So we'll get rid of this one. Why do you have compiling errors? Errors generated while compiling stage, check modules. Particle ID parameter can't be used. Oh, persistent IDs. That makes sense. Somewhere in there. There we go. And then I'm just going to copy this over for right now. And we can add a ribbon renderer here. Which also looks fancy as fuck, I might add. Maybe we'll add this on top, actually. Let's... Might as well. Let's remove that for now. And get back to what we actually wanted to do. And that is the event handler. So we can event handle. On every particle we can do the location event from the original fountain. This one doesn't actually need the location event anymore. Sure. Spawn number 1. Oh, that's a lot of particles. Hold on. Everything is going to shit. That's a lot of particles. What we don't want to do is we don't really need to do anything here at all. Now I think about it, because this is literally only rendering the... Okay, we do need to fix this issue. There is something... Solve for force and velocity, that makes sense. Let's spawn in a few less particles, because we're spawning in still like 500 of them, which is a bit overkill. It's just a little bit overkill. Now, let's try this again. Oh, I also set the spawn number to 10. That also bad ID. This should now be working. In theory. Let's disable the ribbon renderer real quick and just add a sprite renderer to visualize where those particles are. They're not moving. Let's add in a sprite renderer here as well. Yeah, this definitely should be generating a location event, send rate, just every frame. Just want it to be sending every frame. Let me check one of my other systems that uses a similar principle. Also, let me open up my chat again, because... Oh, nobody's actually talking. Okay, never mind, I'm just here on my own, that's fine. Oh, hello, sad man. I'm also sad, because it's not working the way I wanted or expected it to work. Let's see, we have the... one of these is the one that I... Impact ribbons, I think, is what I have. Also does not seem to be working. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's what I need. So let's just copy that over instead. And make this use the... Oh, receive location event. That's the thing that I'm fucking up. Okay. I knew I forgot something. Location event. I mean, it's still not doing a lot. Let's compare them. Yeah, no, that's the exact same thing. And then the event handler is on the spawn particles. On there, and then max events per frame. Oh, the max events per frame is set to 1, so that's fucking things up. By all accounts, this should now just be good. Like this and this doesn't matter. Ribbon width at the moment at least doesn't matter yet. My dude. Hold on, there is one warning with this one. Emitter properties, dynamic bounce. Shouldn't really matter for what I'm doing here, but let's try to find where that issue is. Oh, we'll set it to fixed. Yeah, it's not really doing much. We can still... Yeah, no, it is spawning in those particles. It's just not... I'm at a loss for what actually is going differently here. I'm very confused. You know what we'll do? Just delete that one and say, hey, event handler properties, location event. That seems to fucking work. We'll It's not exactly what I had in mind, not gonna lie. Some of us just lurk. I mean, just lurking is fine. You don't have to feel obliged to interact. Also, I'm trying to focus at this point. Oh, it's a lifetime issue. So if I set this to 1... or even like 2... Okay. Let's set this just to white. And then the ribbon width also started at being much thinner. Going to much thicker in the middle. It's starting to look like kind of the direction that I'm envisioning. Always run it on a GPU instead of CPU if possible. I know, but it's not possible here because I'm using these events. And either way, I'm running it on a static mesh anyway, which means that it needs to interact with the CPU to begin with. So it's not really a possibility here, I'm afraid. Maybe the rendering itself can be done on the GPU, actually. I don't think event handle things can. Yeah, those don't work on GPU at all when you're working with these events. So that's going to have to be a CPU sim thing. But we can make the ribbon width itself quite a bit larger. Like even bigger than this, I would say. And then the velocity scale can also go up to like 200 something. 150. Better idea. Let's set that to 500. And the lifetime here back to like... I want this to plus like 0.5 seconds maybe. And we just need to add a couple more sockets to make this thing fill out the entire area. Also, now that we're doing it this way, probably a good idea to make the mesh location yeah, no, never mind. Like min 15 plus 15. Maybe even like 25, 25. Let's try to copy that. Okay, adding a few more sockets here. That should not be a big deal. We can just move this one a little there. I hope that this looks decent in-game, because if it doesn't, I'm going to lose my shit. It's going to be a split-second thing anyway, so if it doesn't look perfect, I'm kind of fine with that. And this one is going to rotate 180 degrees. And actually, we probably want to emit from starting there. So, is this a good use of sockets? It might not be. Do I care? No. No, not really. Okay. Yeah, that's maybe also not ideal. Let's just for shits and giggles try to see what this does when I set this instead of sockets back to triangles now. Yeah, okay. No. The answer there is just no. Just for fun. Vertices might actually be like legitimately worse. Yeah, those diagonal ones aren't doing me any favors, I don't think. So let's delete those first and foremost. And that's definitely not where I want to be. It's kind of hard to tell what direction is what, to be honest with you, at this point. Definitely don't need so much going down the handle, I don't think. That was a little bit overkill. Like, I think if we're just doing this, that would work perfectly fine. And let's set this back to 350. So the middle of the sword definitely has a little bit of work left, and that is because I probably want to put a socket there. Okay. Okay, the sword ends here, roughly. So we don't need it to be that humongous. Initialize particle. We can make this. Okay, maybe not that short, but like this is a lot better. I'm still not a fan of whatever's going on here. Still not a huge fan of all that. I know what the issue is, actually. The issue is the lifetime of this one, not the lifetime of that one. Sometimes you just have to sit here for a second and just think. And the answer comes as if on its own. Initialize particle on this. Yeah, these are way too long. So let's set this to a randomness of like 0.5 to 0.6. I'm gonna go 0.2 to 0.3. That's a lot more in the direction that I was thinking. Now we can add a little bit of randomness maybe to the velocity of these. So we can like add. Hold on. We get this as a base, so we can just take that and then random range vector, which will be like 0.1, like 10% randomness in either direction maybe. Sounds about good. Let's just copy this number over. It's a lot easier. Just makes it feel a little bit more chaotic and less streamlined, and I do like that. So let's turn off the sprite renderer for this one again. I don't think we need this one. But what I do think would be nice to have is copying over this one real quick. We don't need a location event for this one, but what I do want is just adding a sprite renderer with no velocity. It just spawns in a bunch of small particles, and this one is going to be GPU because there's not going to do anything CPU related. So let's Set this to GPU compute. And just initialize a metric fuckton of tiny particles. So sprite size is going to be random uniform between like 0.1 and 0.5. Okay, maybe that's a little too tiny. Yeah, okay, that's really fucking tiny. 1 and 5. Maybe even like 2.5 and 5. And then we're going to spawn like 1500 a second of these. 1700. Oh, no, 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 no. 2500. And then the scale color is going to be much brighter as well. Like much fucking brighter. What material is this using? Why are you not... Oh, because you're auto exposuring this. That's the issue, right? Let's just go with this for now. Do you think Unreal is good for 2D? Not particularly, no. There is a community plugin, which is, I think it's called Paper ZD or something. Paper 2D, I don't know. Which is a community upkeep version of the official support that Unreal used to have for 2D, but I think in Unreal 5.0, 5.1, probably 5.0, they dropped the official support for it, so it's kind of like waiting for it to die. If you're getting into an engine right now for 2D, I don't think Unreal is the way to go. Let's add just a bit more spawn rate still. We've got to be careful here because this is going to nuke our performance if we do this too much. But it's going to be a short, almost like a burst, right? So we start with the Fountain 001. Then this one should come in a little later. Why can I not do what I want to do? My dude. Surely that's not... No, that's nothing to do with it. Loop behavior at once. That probably... I always have to fucking fight my way through this timeline bullshit with Niagara. Let's Google this. Unreal Niagara move emitters on timeline. Delay emitter for your timeline. That's what I need. It's a YouTube video. I'm going to mute it because otherwise you guys are going to go insane. It's just a parameter in there, is it? Loop delay. I gotta enable loop delay. Loop delay. And once we enable that, we can use this to delay it. Still it's not updating in the timeline itself. So that's bullshit. Wait, that's the system. That's not the emitter. I need to do that on the emitter. Okay, so now I can move this thing around. I don't know why that's not the default. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's kind of dumb. The fact that that's not default behavior. Yeah. It's also kind of annoying that it selects the emitter as well as the system. But we can deal with that. At system update, we need emitter update. Why do you not have it? Do you have it? Also, when I'm looking for something, why does everything else still show the fuck up? I hate particles. I love them, but I also fucking hate them. It's in life cycle. Oh, you do have that. Good. Now, you do not. But now you do. Okay, let's get working on this. What I want to have first is these things to show up for like... It needs to be real quick, because we're switching weapons here. Quite important. First have those things show up, and then these join them soon after. Hold on, that's the wrong emitter. I think, right? This one that needs to start off first. And then also end relatively quickly. So my question is, why does it keep spawning in particles after that thing ends? Because all fucking logic in the world would dictate that if this layer here ends, it should stop spawning in particles. It's probably because the spawn rate is set up like that. Let's see. Loop behavior once. That's probably the reason, I have to imagine. Right? That has to be the reason. Also because I... No, hold on. These are the particles. These are the sprites. So I need to set this one to loop behavior once as well. Okay, now it should only spawn those in at the start and then stop spawning them in when those things come in. Okay, cool. We're getting there. And then at half a second, we also stop spawning these. So that does mean that switching weapons is going to take about half a second. Which might be quite a lot, but let's just see what this feels like. I don't hate it. Matter of fact, I think that these could even be a little bit shorter. It just needs to be a burst that kind of you know, I think that these ones might do good with a little bit of movement. I was thinking about Unity, but they fucked up with the license. Yeah, they did. But also, I don't think they're going to be pulling any of that shit anytime soon. Again, but it's worth considering. Godot is fine for 2D. What I've heard from you, that said, I also do believe that Godot is much less like mature in its development than Unity. But I've never worked with Godot and only pretty limited time with Unity, so I'm not the best person to be making comments on that. Anyway, let's give them a little bit of velocity on spawn. So, like, add velocity. Maybe it can just be random. I think just random is actually kind of good. Let's just do random. Who cares? Random range vector. Just entirely fucking random. Just needs to have a little bit of oomph to it, you know? So we... maybe give it a little bit more scale. Might not be a bad idea. Also, hello, welcome to the lost person on Twitch who is actually watching on Twitch. You are quite unique. That doesn't tend to happen a lot. You're welcome, though. Welcome to join. Welcome to have fun. That feels a little bit better. Like something's actually happening there, right? So that's a good start. I prefer it to be like just a little bit more... a little bit more vibrant. I don't know why it's not. Just checking out the community on Twitch. Been developing for years now. We're getting more motivated. Watching other people do shit. Maybe not watching me get frustrated against Unreal's particle systems, because that's maybe not as motivating as I would like it to be. But watching other people do stuff tends to be motivating for me, at least. Let's RGBA together. And then color. I don't know why it's not doing what I wanted to do, though, is the issue. Unless it's using the wrong material somehow. No, it's the default sprite material. That should definitely... that should definitely be showing... the glow. Oh, that's way overkill, I'll tell you that much. So something's going a little wrong there. Set this to 0. Getting frustrated is part of the process. Yeah. We all love it, don't we? I don't play around too much with particles. I love making visuals with particles. I just don't do it a lot. So every time I get back into it, I need to look up so many things that I've looked up 1,000 times before. Like this should be doing what I assume but it's not. And the weirdest bit is that the ribbons here do actually glow. So I don't know what the fuck the sprite renderer thinks it's doing. But if I go into scale color here and I set this to like 50, it actually does improve. Like, what the fuck is happening to my life? I don't understand. I don't understand. It's really weird. You know what we'll do? I'm going to do these ones do it properly. Actually an interesting question. If I scale these up in... These also do what they're supposed to... Actually, no, not quite. Fuck. What's the last time I saved? What's the last time I saved? Probably not that important, to be honest with you. Hopefully. Oh, there we go. We can skip restore because I don't have anything for those. Okay, let's see how much progress I lost. A lot of the things that I've been doing have just been experimenting, though. At least it saved all of the shit regarding the mesh and the sockets on the mesh. So that's a good sign. What does this look like now? Oh, I actually saved somewhat recently. That's good. Yeah, no, that's pretty decent. So what we'll do is we'll add this to our weapon and see what it looks like. At least for the vanishing. I think we probably also can use this for the appearing particles, but maybe that doesn't look that good. But let's just add it to the weapon. Yeah. The weapon itself is going to... I'm hiding the weapon and showing the weapon from the code of the player, so probably add it as a component here. Niagara, particle system components. Vanish, particles. Did we call it vanish particles? Weapon vanish. I am a god. So yeah, that wasn't exactly what I had in mind. Let's go back over and make sure everything is simulating in local space. I think that might be the issue. And if it is not, I don't know what is. That's local space. That's local space. That's not local space. So let's try again. Why is it offset like that? And why is it fucking huge? Many questions, very few answers. I hope that we were kind of finished with this at the moment. I don't know why. Does this need to be set to like a local space thing too? Not really, right? That's a bit of a slap in the face, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't love that. What does determinism mean? Yeah, actually I don't care about that. Loop duration will be 0.5 seconds. Complete everything before it kills. Loop delay. If that's set to false, it's not going to use that anyway, but I'm just paranoid at this point. Let's just spawn in these particles to see what that looks like. Yeah, it's all the way the fuck over there. Huh. Okay, so what we'll do is visibility. Like, if I just move this around, it does move when I move it around. I'm not going to set this to like a random place in space hoping that it's going to fix the issue. But I do think it is moving. This is really annoying, having to deal with the fact that this animates. There we go. Like, if I moved it... No, actually it's not moving. No, it's just emitting from the same place every single time. Am I going insane? Or does it seem to be emitting from the camera? Look at this. Like, is it emitting from the camera? It very much looks like it's emitting from the camera's position, which makes no fucking sense. What the hell? Okay. Just to try. How? Why? How does that make any sense? We'll just test it in game. Maybe it's only fucked up in the viewport. Maybe it's only fucked up in the view. It probably isn't, but maybe it is. Let's just try, okay? We can try. We can try. We can fucking try. Oh, we need to add this through C++, don't we? Because we have the hide weapon in C++, but this is going to require timing, and setting up a timer in C++ is painful, so I have made the executive decision that we're going to overwrite this one in... Which we can very easily do, right? We have hide weapon, presumably in here somewhere. Is it not a U function? No, it is. That should allow us to override it in Blueprint. Is that a separate... Is that a separate thing? Unreal... U function Blueprint overrideable? It's probably a separate specifier. Oh, it has to be virtual. That makes sense, actually. So let's make that virtual void. Let's also not make any spelling mistakes. And we'll also do it with show weapon, because why not? Also, I saw somebody Videos really helped me with my project so far. You've gotten experience with 2D games in UE5. I do not. And we just talked about this a little while back, like 20 minutes ago or something. I also don't think that's necessarily an engine that's really meant for 2D. There's a community upkept plugin that allows you to do 2D, and pretty much what that does is it does what the official plugin for it that was made by Epic Games used to do. But Epic Games decided to no longer continue that into Unreal 5. So I personally take that as a very strong stance on the part of Epic that they are not looking into. It's not in here. That they're really not looking into supporting 2D all that much. So it's probably, if you're looking for doing 2D shit, probably better to jump ship, honestly. Which sucks. I don't like it, but I also need to... Oh, you can't declare U functions as virtual, is what they said. Oh my fucking god. You cannot override a C++ function in Blueprint? Blueprint implementable event it is then. Sure, if that's what you prefer, we'll get rid of the virtual and we'll make it a Blueprint implementable event. It's a little annoying. Hopefully that doesn't fuck up the call function by name. What do you mean Blueprint implementable event is not? What the fuck are you talking about? Already defined in... Yeah, I know. Oh, we can't make it both Blueprint callable and Blueprint implementable. That makes sense. So this is going to fuck things up, most likely. Maybe... Hey, maybe my phone can also shut up? I'm just doing it for my studies now. I definitely don't want to continue doing 2D after this one. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, probably check out the Paper 2D, or I think it's called Paper ZD these days. Plug-in on... Phone, can you shut the fuck up, please? What the hell? Who's trying to even bother me? Oh, it's an email thing. Let me fucking guess. My email is horrible and is trying to send me an email of every single Slack notification that I've gotten. Because it tends to fucking do that. Not even. Not even. Huh. It's just spam. That said, I did get 18 messages. Which is insane. We'll get back to that tomorrow. What was I doing again before I got distracted? Blueprint native or Blueprint implementable? I don't even remember the difference, if I'm being honest with you. So let's try to make this Blueprint native instead and see if that compiles. It seems to be having trouble. Which is fair. Oh! I understand what the issue is. The issue is that I'm trying to also define shit in here. So we have these, which should be removed. At which point, why am I... No, that does still make sense. That does still make sense. In this case, not necessarily. So I was going to say, why am I even declaring these things in C++ if I'm going to fully work with them in Blueprint anyway? But if you want to declare something in C++ and then use it in C++ code, you need to have it declared in C++, even if all the code gets added in Blueprint. But in this case, we're only going to ever refer to this through blueprints in our gameplay events anyway. So we can just make... The fuck are you... Oh, wait a second. I'm referring to this in a couple of places, aren't I? Yeah, in the game mode. So where is my game mode? No, but then actually it does make more sense to also have it run through C++ partly. I did not think about this too much in advance. I don't know if you can tell. You probably can. So let's go back to, yeah, I do want that to be a thing. Then again, my entire music system is going to need to be revised anyway. So what we'll do is, for now, we're just going to ignore this part of it. And we'll just delete that code and we'll get back to it. My entire battle detection system is very wonky. Action RPG character 277 still has a reference to that function apparently. So let's go in there. 277, what the fuck? It's very high up. It's probably begin play, right? Oh, it's on attack. Yeah, no, we can just add that into the attack ability. That's fine. Whilst today Unreal drove me insane. I can imagine that. Turns out my object pool was fucked up. Didn't know if it worked better in 3D. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think that really should matter. How many dimensions you work if you like pulling objects, which is good stuff to do. But I don't think that really has any impact on 2D or 3D. My fucking god. I didn't even change anything about this class. Why are you giving me errors about it? Like, what the hell is even wrong with you? Show weapon is not a member of... Okay, 120. That is where we have the begin play. Right. Line 120. Line 120 is what the fuck is... What the fuck? Okay, you stopped complaining about the puzzle piece thing, which was really random. But you're still saying that, oh, it's in a game mode. I'm an idiot. Wait, what did I delete then in here? Why is it trying to show weapon twice? What the fuck? That's a mistake. Okay. Event graph. Show web event show. How do you do this again? That's new graph. That's not what I want. I've never actually used multiple graphs, to be honest with you. Is it not in here? I did put them back into my header file, didn't I? I did not. Because I don't need to. Because I don't need to. Okay. I'm being a little bit of a chaotic idiot at the moment. Let's do a show weapon and hide weapon. For both of which we're going to say, let's start with show weapon. Show weapon will activate with a reset. It'll delay. We can't delay in a function, so this needs to be an event. I'm an idiot. It's the whole reason that I want to do this in Blueprint, to use delays. So custom event show weapon. It's going to bitch at me that this name is no, it's not. Okay. Pleasantly surprised. And then it's going to set this visibility. Set visibility to being true. Don't propagate to children. Pretty please. Well, for this one it doesn't matter actually. And then for hide custom event, hide weapon, we do the exact same thing. Oh, no. There needs to be a delay between this. That's, again, the entire point of going back to Blueprint for this. It can be 0.3 seconds. I think that's fine. And then we copy that over. And for this, we set a new visibility to false. Okay. Now, this is going to cause problems. Because it's probably not going to like... No? No problems? 1, 2, 3, 4... Disappear. I mean, it disappeared. It's not appearing, but actually that does make sense. It disappeared and it played the particle effects. It played them way too fucking huge still, which is not ideal. But that is... Oh, hold on. No, that is actually probably quite easily fixable if we go back into the mesh shape location. This is probably just set to way too big of a value. So if we set this to -5 to 5 instead, that probably fixes some of my issue. Maybe. It's still also just generally too huge. Let's just test it out. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, vanish. Look, if we can get the particles to behave, that's gonna be real cool, okay? It's just, we need those particles to work. And they're not. And I don't know why. Because they're not on a mesh. They are not on a mesh. That's the issue. They're on a... Okay. We need to go into the actual... sword and put it on the mesh here. That's the issue. There we go. Now it works. Okay. So if we auto activate here. We need to go back into that and that's annoying actually. We need to set this one up on C++. But we can do that. That's not a problem. Parent class is sword base, which is a child of a weapon. The situation here is that I am an idiot. Soccer skills got nothing to do with it. That's also a good idea. Didn't turn out to be the issue, I don't think. I think we fix it now. But I probably should have thought about that a lot sooner. That is actually a really good idea. Huh. So the issue was that it was trying to spawn on a static mesh location, but in order for a particle system to spawn on static meshes, it needs to be a child of that static mesh. And it wasn't a child of a static mesh, it was a child of a actor component. Or a child actor component. Which has a static mesh in it, but apparently it can't see like that deep into it, which makes sense. I just kind of forgot that it worked as a child actor component, to be entirely honest with you. So we can just simply copy some things over here though, because we have our Niagara system. No, I don't think that's it. Weapon trail, that's it. We're not going to be using this as a weapon trail, but that's just, I'm copying shit over. Weapon vanish. And then in the constructor, we can set up weapon vanish. And that should be all there is to it. Now it's on the parent class, so no matter what weapon I have, I can access that component. But it does need to be a U property. Is it a U property? I didn't actually look. Add it anywhere. Blueprint read only. We need it to be. So let's add that. Blueprint read only. I was certain that we were going to make a quick particle system and then we're going to get into the actual mechanics of switching between different weapons, because we still haven't done that. Blueprint read only cannot be used for private members. You know what? You know what? That makes sense. I'll put this up in the public. Do we have a protected? We have a protected section. I'm gonna put it in there. That should allow that, right? We're about to find out. Maybe it needs to be public. I don't know. Nah, protected should work. There we go. The idea behind it not allowing private is because then the children can't access it, and all the blueprints are going to be child classes, so there's no use in that. Is the idea. Okay, weapon vanish. That's still quite big. So I might need to play around with things a little bit, but it's looking a little bit better. And we'll need to get the weapon, get the child class, get the child actor, which we will cast to weapon, so we can get the vanish system. And we'll do that in both cases. Yay for dynamic casting. Could I have made an interface for that instead? Yes. I could have. Should I have? I don't really give a shit. It's the answer to that. Now, let's look at how horrible this is going to be. So we attack, we wait like 1, 2, 3, 4, vanish. That's like surprisingly not horrible. Aside from like the whole crashing my game thing. But that feels like it is a Unreal live coding bug. So let's just build from source. And see how this will do. I haven't been working on this game for years yet. I started this almost a year and a half ago. So if half a year counts as years, then it technically is years, I suppose. But it's about a year and a half. But a lot of that was like the first 6 months of that was in Unity, and then I decided, you know what, no, we're not going to do this. And then I had to rebuild a lot in Unreal, and then I had a game-breaking bug in my combat code, which I decided to learn an entire new plugin subsystem for Unreal, which took me about a month and a half. So, yeah. I'm very good at wasting time, is my point. When is it being released? That depends on a lot of different things, but I don't expect it to be released this year, and maybe not even next year. So that would be 2026. If I can get more time on development, and that's mostly a money-related thing, to be honest, it probably will be sooner. But otherwise, I expect sometime 2026. At the moment, a quite big portion of the development is just these streams, because aside from that, I'm like making content and like working, which just, needs to happen, you know. But it does slow down development a lot, needing to have like a job and stuff. Prefer not to have to do that, but you know, I do. Yeah, I didn't save my custom events. So add custom event, show weapon. Do I still have that on my clipboard? I still have this on my clipboard. That's something. Custom event, hide weapon. Oh, the vanish particles don't need to be on that anymore. We get the child actor. And this time, before we start testing shit, I do want to actually save. Activate, reset, copy paste. Now, with all of this dragging around of these strings, would it have been quicker to just set up a timer in C++, specifically since I also have Copilot? Yeah. Probably would have been. Would have been more robust to be able to have timer handlers rather than just delays. Yeah, probably would have been. Could you please stop asking questions to yourself that make you look stupid? No, I cannot. Set visibility. Show weapon should set that to true, and then hide weapon should set that to false. What's your preference, Steam or Epic Games? Both, I guess. Mostly Steam, because Epic Games, I'd have to look deeper into it if I can find numbers on that, but I don't believe there's a lot of people actually buying stuff on Epic Games Store, because their launcher, like I'm working in Unreal. I like Unreal. The Epic Game Launcher fucking sucks. I hate it. It's a really bad game launcher. I don't like it. The UI is a nightmare. I'm not saying that Steam is perfect, but Steam is a lot easier to use and a lot just more intuitive. And as such, I do feel like there's a lot more people on Steam, and people mostly have Epic Games to get the free games that Epic is trying to bribe people with, is really what it comes down to. So, like, if I had to choose, I would go for Steam because it just has more people on it that can potentially, like, buy my shit. It also has more games on it, to be fair, so it's harder to stand out. And I think Steam's recommendation algorithm also is a little bit better, from what I understand, but I don't know that for sure. Do you have the particle system in yet? You do not. Weapon vanish. Okay, let's try again. So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4 and vanish. It feels like those particles are not... Oh, yeah, no, that actually fully makes sense. We need to commit ability and immediately show weapon. No, we need to check if the weapon is already visible first, otherwise it's going to emit those particles every single time I try to attack. So, get a weapon. Get weapon, and is visible. I was gonna say that has to be a bool on components. So if visible is true, we just immediately go into the rest of the ability. If it is false, I need to clear up some space here, but we show the weapon. At this point, I am just saving every time I do something because I'm paranoid that I'm going to lose progress. So we wait 4 seconds, it disappears with those particles, which again, I don't think are lined up to the mesh at all, but we'll look into that in a moment. Maybe I disabled local space. Anyway, and then we... I mean, that looked pretty cool. Not gonna lie, that looked pretty awesome. But if you publish, you can opt both. You got an ad. Good. It's like $0.50 for me. Sweet. Money. I think you can just publish on both. If you develop in Unreal and you publish exclusively on Epic Games, I believe you have a better revenue share with them. But there's no way in the world where I believe that that benefit in a revenue share is going to offset the amount of Steam sales that you're losing out on. So from a purely monetary perspective, I don't think that that's particularly attractive. Like, there's a reason that Epic needs to actively pay huge games to be on their platform rather than just offering that revenue share improvement option, because not being on Steam will cost more than you're going to get from a better revenue share. So I'll miss out on that, but aside from that, I believe you can just dual publish without any problems. But I'll have to look deeper into it when we get somewhat closer to that. Because I also still don't have a Steam page. I'll get to that at some point. But, you know, making a Steam page costs money and cheap. and poor. So it's not a good combination for making the Steam page. So, the weapon vanishing thing. they do simulate in local space, so I don't know what the fuck's up with any of that. Let's just as an experiment try to like not simulate in local space. Maybe that's the issue. I very much doubt that that's the issue, but we're gonna just check. I actually do think that that might have been the issue. Huh. That's interesting. Let's make this loop like a lot shorter so I can actually properly see it. Maybe not quite that short. Can you please stop? Can you? Thank you. So if I go back into the mesh location and this is still set to 25, so this should probably be -10, +10 for all of these. And at this point I just need to go back and forth and try this a lot until I get to something that looks halfway decent. Basically half of indies are poor. Yeah, it's kind of like a rite of passage, isn't it? Let's see. You know what? We spent like an hour and a half to get this to work, but I'm quite not displeased. Which is a good start. Also, people, I don't know why people always text and email and Slack message me only when I'm streaming or recording. Like, when I'm bored, nobody ever wants to talk to me. Oh, that's actually kind of sad, isn't it? I was going to do a thing. What was I going to do again? I'm starting to lose a little bit of focus. My caffeine is running out. I was going to make it a little smaller. I think that's what I was going to do. And then I want to be able to set the color on a per weapon basis. So the particle colors match the color that the weapon has. So this will be white, but then the scythe, for instance, will be purple when it spawns in. I think that makes sense. So let's initialize particle and set these to be, again, I'm going to say 0.1 to 0.2 instead. Just I like the feel of that better in the preview. Now let's see if I also like this better in the actual game. Maybe the velocity is just a little much. Let's set this to 350. I think your game doesn't have white light. I mean, white is a combination of all colors, is the issue. Or is the ID, rather. I can kind of deal with this. That's kind of decent. Like, I could also make this grey or black, but the issue with, like, emissive particles is that you can't make them black for obvious reasons. What if we make the velocity back to something like very large, like 700 in this case, but then the lifetime will make even shorter, so like something stupidly short like this. And then, of course, the lifetime for the ribbon itself needs to go a little down as well. Not much, but like 0.2. 0.3. $1,500. 0.1 to 0.15. Nah. I like the other one. Like a 1/20 of a second to... Why is this not showing anymore now? Did I fuck something up here? I might have. Let's just Ctrl-Z our way through this till we get back to something that is actually visible. Oh, we had something visible there. Oh, it's not visible anymore. It's visible again. Okay, it's visible. We're good. We can set this to 0.4. Spawn a clean 1,000 of them. Yeah, that's what I mean. People only fucking send me work messages as well when I'm streaming. Well, that's not true. They send me work messages all fucking day. It's just annoying when I'm streaming. For me, it's looking cool because I don't have a similar image in my mind. Yeah, that's the thing, right? I have in my mind what I want it to look like, and this is close to it, but not quite. And it's real easy to get hung up on making it look like the way you want it to look like, and not just stopping when it looks good enough. But I think that actually... Yeah. I like that. Now, when it appears, what it actually should do is it should have those other particles moving toward it instead. Also, I do think that for these particles, we can... And at this point, I'm really in on the details. I am aware. I think we can do with these being a little smaller. So, like half to 2. And then, since they're GPU particles anyway, let's go fucking nuts with them and spawn like 6,000 of them. See what that feels like. Yeah, I think that might be a little much, 6,000, but I do like that a little bit better. I'm also going to, I don't think you're going to notice this too much, but adding a little bit of curl noise force is probably a good idea. So let's go back to a even 5,000. I know, technically speaking, 6,000 is an even number, but it's like honorary uneven, in my opinion. Fight me. Do you have LinkedIn or any other stuff? No, I've got this YouTube channel. I have like the usual socials like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, because people definitely still use Facebook. I've got a Discord server. But oh man, especially if we go into the sword trail that I have here, and I set the... Where is the initialized particle? Where do I set the color for this fucking thing? No, seriously, where do I set the color for this? What the hell? Ribbon renderer. is that a thing that I do on the weapon blueprint itself? Do I set like color here in construction script or something? Pick and play. How does this thing get its color? Do I do it on the player? That would be weird if I did. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I forgot where I set the color for this thing. Parameter, trail material. Is it just in the material itself? It apparently is just in the material itself. That's really bad. But if we set this to white as well, because eventually it's going to have to be white. I just made it purple because I like the color purple. But like we have... What the fuck? Is it because I didn't apply? Probably because I didn't apply. If you use if you use Facebook, you must be a old grandpa. Yeah, I just the tool I use for like automatically posting to socials, because I don't manually post to Instagram and Facebook and Instagram, and eventually YouTube Shorts are also going to go into that once those upload schedules finally line up, because at the moment they don't. For like short, like vertical video format. I use a separate tool to just upload it once to that place, and then that distributes it over the different different platforms. Also, because TikTok, you can't schedule videos more than like 2 weeks ahead, and sometimes it's really nice to just make a bunch of videos, especially if they're shorts, and like upload them for a month, and then you have like a month to make a new batch, which is nice. TikTok, you have to more or less constantly stay on top of it, which is annoying. And Facebook is one of the options that offers, so I just also upload to Facebook. I never open it. It could very well be that I have like 1,000 followers on Facebook and I wouldn't know it. But I highly doubt that I have 1,000 followers on Facebook. Anyway, yeah, so having that spawn-in particle system match with the actual smear frames on my sword makes it look so much fucking better, because it feels like it's a more consistent thing happening. It does look a little bit weird with it being in world space. Remind me, can we turn this back to local space now? Now that we have fixed my issue? Because we might be able to. And I like the idea that it only simulates them in local space. That might also help me out a little bit. So let's check out if this fucks anything up. It shouldn't. It fucks up the direction of the particles. That's the reason that I did that. Okay. And the reason for that is because it's not taking into account the fact that the mesh is then also inserted into a socket and changing its own orientation, I assume. I guess that's just the issue. Okay, there might be something you can do to prevent that, but I don't think it's enough of a problem at the moment. You don't use the comments? If you mean on Facebook, I don't. If you mean in Unreal on Blueprint, I should. Sometimes I do, but not always. I think for now this does the job though. But that said, I was going to make the weapon switching system today as well, but I've been live for quite a while, so I don't think I will. Like, the issue is that if I move around while it despawns, it looks a little bit weird. Like, I don't love how that looks. And also, if I like spawn it in midair while I'm falling down, it also looks a little bit weird. You see that? So maybe I need to look into that a little bit more. But at this point, we can kind of assume that this more or less works. So let's also check whether or not this will work nicely with the other particle system, or the other mesh rather that I have. So I also have a scythe. Scythe. Which needs to be oh man, this does not look very much like the shape of that scythe. I'm gonna be honest with you. Do you only emit from these sockets as well? You emit from these sockets as well. Oh, but it still has the same preview. Ah, that's annoying. That's just a preview mesh. We can work with that. And instead of sockets, they should emit from triangles anyway. What does vertices look like? Not much better. It'll do. Let's go into the low poly scythe, which has way too many materials because fuck me. To be clear, I didn't make this one. I had this one made in my Fiverr freelancer video, which I still think they did a decent job, but just not a fantastic job on this thing. And the material situation is an example of that. Like, it's decent, but there's like definitely issues with it because most of those material slots don't actually get used, and it's really annoying to get rid of them inside of Unreal. So I have to re-import this from Blender at some point, is what I'm getting at. Okay, let's take a look at what this looks like now. Yeah, in UE. Yeah, no, I do use the comments, like with more elaborate stuff like this. I do use the comments. To be honest, a lot of the stuff in here is temporary anyway. Like, this is just granting a whole bunch of abilities. This is all like test debug stuff. This is initializing level stats. I'm probably gonna keep that actually. This is more temporary granting of abilities. That's all going to be moved for the most part into a C++ function or dynamically done by the weapons when I have the weapon switching system in place, which I wanted to do today, but then I got distracted making fucking particles. So since this is not that much, and also again about like 60% of this is going to get deleted anyway and replaced with other code, I haven't commented this. But in general, with more complicated stuff, I do comments because otherwise it becomes an actual nightmare to find things. Weapon vanish. You know what? That actually kind of works. That kind of works out fine. Let's take a look at my player. No, character. There we go. The weapon you are starting with is surely you have. There we go. I want to try this out with a scythe. BP I'll just find a blueprint. That's a lot easier. BP scythe. I don't know why that doesn't show up. So when this one disappears, it looks like... I mean, that's fair, because I didn't set up the vanish particles on this one. So weapon vanish. I think you could use UV island or polygroup. You can use those to filter. Oh, you mean for the materials? Yeah, no, the materials have all been baked together into one set of texture maps. It's just the materials were clearly made in Blender, and in Blender the workflow to do that, at least the workflow I use, and clearly that Freelancer as well, is to make every single different looking part. So I'll just show you like this skull, and then the dark purple and the lighter purple and whatever, like all the blackness is. Those are all separate materials, which you then bake together into one texture map. But usually what you then do is you delete all the original materials, because you don't want to add extra draw calls in Engine. They forgot to do that, and I also forgot to delete them before adding them in from Blender. So at some point I'm going to need to import the FBX I got into Blender, delete those extra slots, export it again, and re-import it into Unreal. It's not a big deal. I just am too lazy to do it. So again, this is what this is going to look like on this scythe. That's the wrong fucking direction, isn't it? How does that even happen? Seriously, how does that happen? I don't even know. Like, look at this. How the fuck does that happen? That makes no sense. That makes actually just straight up no sense. That's a sword. Where's the scythe? Let me check that again. Auto activate. Have I not set this as CPU accessible? No, I have. We can check. We can double check. CPU accessible, yeah. Do I need to turn these around 180 degrees? I thought they would emit into the Y direction, but maybe they emit into the negative Y direction in actuality? Which would be good to know. I have to imagine something like that. But then how and why do these emit in the direction that you would assume they do? Except like these bottom ones don't. Like at all. Does it just not spawn in enough particles? Is that the issue? That seems unlikely. But it doesn't spawn in any particles down here, and there's definitely sockets down there. I mean, just rotating the weapon, it's going to rotate the sockets with it, so that's not going to do too much, I'm afraid. Also, that would fuck up some of the direction that the character is holding the weapon, which needs to work for all the weapons in the game. Because I'm not going to, every time I switch weapon, also rotate that component. That's asking for issues. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why these bottom ones don't seem to be doing anything. It's an interesting question. I'm just going to rotate one of them around and see what happens. Like if I just rotate this one right here, 180-ish degrees, and let's take this one as well. Why not? While we're at it, might as well. You know what? It doesn't matter which direction you rotate it if you're going to rotate it 180 degrees. Scythe. What do you do now? Yeah, no, that definitely is now spewing the other way. So, what we're learning here is that what I need to do, let's rotate this the fuck back, first and foremost. I think what I just need to do is just do that. I think that's going to fix my issue. I think what's happening is that it's spawning them in, but they're moving so goddamn fast. So by the time they actually get thick enough to be seen, they are all the way over there. So if I just add a particle down there, that's going to... Which one is rotated wrong? Still one that's rotated wrong. This one. That should fix my shit. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, that kind of does what it needs to do. Let's look at this in engine. Making a dissolved material would have been easy. Yeah, making just a dissolved material would have been much easier. Also, it wouldn't look very nice compared to this, in my opinion. So, I think it's worth it. I can deal with that. That's fine. Like my enemies actually just straight up have a dissolve material. I already have something set up for dissolve stuff. Like if I go into my enemies, should be something somewhere around here. Let's save everything actually. Now that I have everything the way I want it to work, make sure that nothing gets deleted. Like I have some enemies over here, and if I go into their static or skeletal mesh rather, and into the material for them. Like I straight up just have a dissolve on this. So I could just kind of either duplicate this to make it function for the weapons properly, or just use the weapons texture maps on these, and that would also work, but I like the way this looks a little bit more. So I'm happy that I spent like at this point about 2 hours on those particle systems, but now I have a pretty decent system that I can work with and improve over time. Swear to God if you crash on me. And I guess next time when we stream we're going to be doing the actual weapon switching system, because we're not doing that today. It's been a good one though, and thanks everybody for stopping in, but we're going to end it here because it's been well over 2.5 hours, and I need to go get some food, and I need to go see what everybody has been bothering me about while streaming. So I'll see you back next time. Bye-bye.